Welcome back to 90 Day Dental Day 11. Gurvinder's back with round 2 of lower posterior morphology, another exciting session that promises to give us a lot of information and hopefully clear a lot of the misconceptions with lower anatomy. Here we go.
Hello everyone, hope you're well and kind of bearing up with all the things that are going on. Just going to follow up a short video on what I did the other day, which was the upper kind of posterity. I'm going to go into the lower posterity today. Like I said beforehand, it's very important that morphology has a purpose. We want to try and replicate what we already see, particularly in nature. In nature, kind of form follows function. So if we see a cusp in a certain position, an incline, a depression, a groove, a bit, we want to try and replicate that. So it's not really changing things, it's trying to kind of keep the same things in there. Because again, nature's designed things to be there for a particular purpose, and particularly for its function. So rather than just things trying to make things look nice or look like you think that should be kind of a certain morphology, it's trying to replicate what's already there. So looking at the lower teeth, lower posterior, and you can see like the outline form. Like I mentioned the other day, it is the kind of most bulbous kind of part that you can see from the occlusal view. And as soon as we place the kind of occlusal table within that outline form, you can see the occlusal table is quite linearly placed, like the uppers, but it's quite plately placed. And kind of splitting that onto the 6, you can see that the kind of cuspal crest to the actual maximum bulbosity on the buccal is quite large compared to the lingual aspect. So it is something that's quite important when we're building it, whether it's kind of 2 cusps on the 6 or just even the 4 or 5. We're trying to bring that cuspal crest, the ridge, much further right. It isn't quite vertical, it does slope quite a distance away. So when we jump back to that occlusal view, again, going to split these up slightly different. I'm going to actually work on the first premolar to start off with, and then we'll do the others. With the first premolar, kind of the main thing with it does have a slight rotation. It is kind of rotated about its axis, because again, it is where the arch starts to turn, kind of a lot sharper towards the canine. Now, again, the cuspal kind of cusp tips onto these areas are still mesial to the inclination, so it's off center. Now, once we're placing kind of the little pits and actually join the kind of groove within that aspect, that groove actually bisects and actually dips into the crestal ridge on that lingual aspect. It is actually, it forms into a quite clear depression and a cut into that cuspal crest part. Now, placing in the cuspal kind of inclines into that, it goes pretty straight across. But one aspect that you can see very clearly is the mesial aspect of that tooth is much smaller than the distal aspect on the other side of the incline, coupled with the fact the buccal aspect is much larger than the lingual aspect. It's also the kind of buccal aspect is much higher, the lingual aspect is much lower. When we go back to the view with all the teeth there, I'm going to split it up to the second premolar and the second molar. The 6 is slightly, again, quite different. It's a tooth that we often restore and often get wrong. So I'm going to go into the 6 in a little bit more detail than we do with the others. So we place the cusp tips on all these teeth, which again is quite easy to see in the form, and also then we're placing the kind of the intersections where the grooves bisect either the marginal ridges, or the buccal and lingual aspects of the crestal kind of ridges. Now, looking at just kind of the 5 and the 7, placing in the kind of the bits into those areas and joining those up with the grooves. Now you can see with the 5, the kind of the buccal aspect is one large cusp, but the lingual aspects are split into 2 separate cusps. Again, getting much smaller, about the same height, but they are much smaller. Whereas the 7 is a classic hot cross bun. So if you want to restore a tooth, then the easiest tooth to restore is a lower 7. Okay, so just you crisscross and you get your hot cross bun. Placing it in our kind of cusp inclines. Okay, on the 5, you see you can run down the buccal cusp, splits into 2, and it forms and joins up the 2 inclines of both the lingual cusps. So again, pretty straightforward. There are slight variations of a 5, but again, that's the one that you'll tend to see most. Like before, the buccal cusp is much larger than the lingual cusps. They're about the same height. On the 7, it is a hot cross bun. So we've got those transverse ridges meeting together at that same point. Okay, so that's kind of the 4, the 5, and the 7. Looking at the 6 on its own, again, this is a tooth we see kind of often kind of posted on Instagram or on Facebook, because it's something that we see quite a lot in terms of tooth that we restore quite often. But more often than not, we see the morphology sometimes we'll see mistakes. And those mistakes are kind of compounded because something looks pretty nice, but it doesn't look quite right. Okay, going to go through a few tips and just as few ways of actually trying to pick up the same thing, so you can make things a little bit easy for yourself when you do come to restoring teeth, whenever that may be. So if we place our central groove through the middle, it goes pretty much really through the occlusal table. Again, one often mistake that I see is those two, both the buccal groove and the lingual groove, joined together. Okay, and it's in one straight path. And again, that always looks a little bit odd. The other mistake that sometimes can be seen is from the lingual aspect. It runs right the way through to the buccal, but not necessarily meeting the buccal groove. It actually forms its own groove somewhere else in the middle of the tooth. Again, we get a hot cross bun, which again is 6 never looks like. So if we step back from this and actually kind of look in proportions and looking at how we can actually kind of have something to, as an 8-man one, we can look at trying to build kind of on the 6, if you kind of see the separation between the two medial distal aspects. The lingual kind of cusps are actually separated pretty much 50-50. Okay, if we separate the buccal aspect into fifths, you'll see the mesial buccal is 2/5, the central buccal cusp is about 2/5, and the distal the buccal cusp is about 1/5. Now, if we place our central groove, the fissure pattern going through the middle of that, okay, if we tried kind of leaving it in that same position, it's tend to be the wrong position. So you'll tend to find the kind of that little central area, that kind of fissure, actually moves across slightly towards the lingual. So when we place our actual kind of buccal fissures, they actually meet into those. So that central buccal cusp generally, and that's why kind of the vast majority of the times, will bisect those two lingual cusps. Okay, and that's something which, if you see, will suddenly make your lower 6s look more like your natural teeth. So that central kind of fissure doesn't run straight. And again, those two buccal and lingual grooves do not meet up at the same point. There is a slight different change within those. So when we actually look at the cuspal inclines on that 6, you can start to see it looks more like what you see in the mouth, okay, like natural teeth. When we superimpose those onto a set of models of teeth, okay, you can suddenly see the teeth pretty much the way that they should do. So again, if you want to learn more on this, okay, or if you want to ask any questions, please contact me. Again, with some email, on Facebook, on kind of Insta. So keep safe, keep well. Thank you.
So those 2 sessions by Gurvinder, which were day 9 and day 11, would help to put the posterior morphology section on the right tracks. Join us again tomorrow. See you then.